All right. You'll probably have to agree to that.
Yep.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm here with Girish, and we are preparing for his return to Roots to Wings. He's going to be here
Yay.
for, yeah, it's been a while. Seems like a short time, but it's actually been a while.
A lot's happened.
That's because we had so much fun when you were here
Yeah, we
last.
did.
Yeah, great time. And you'll be here on July 19th and the 20th. That's a Saturday and Sunday. You're going to be here on the 19th for an evening kirtan, and
Kirtan
then for
concert.
a yoga class on Sunday the 20th with me. And
Yeah.
that's always an interesting experiment, live music and yoga. I
Yeah.
had a really interesting experience actually playing your Diamonds in the Sun yoga flow uh,
Okay.
track in one of my classes recently. And the class just spontaneously started singing, and it was so beautiful. I've never had anything like that happen in class that wasn't
Uh,
sort of orchestrated, and this was just
choreographed. Yeah.
totally unscripted. People were really grooving out on that, and it's
Sweet.
highly unusual for Roots to Wings because people are usually a little reserved to ohm or sing or move in a way. We're stodgy,
Really, I'm surprised to hear you say that
uptight
because,
New Englanders. Yeah.
well,
So
I'll tell you, man, my experience being out there on the road, singing at a lot of different venues all across the country and across the world, really. Your community is so warm and vibrant, so you guys are doing well. Last time we had a brilliant experience at the kirtan, like great energy, good vibes, and then the workshop. But the live music and yoga will be a first for us, so maybe we'll get them
yeah.
singing in there too.
Well, I a deep bow of gratitude to for whatever it is in the universe that allows that to come together, so that
Yeah,
when you come here, it makes you feel that way. Because we definitely feel it too, but I
yeah.
wish I understood that better. But I don't think it's anything that's supposed to be wielded as a tool. It's just it's a place where we can love a little.
I feel like that's so important, and that kind of indescribable quality of warmth and connection and open-heartedness, that you guys nourish and cultivate there. Really, that is the living human connection that we need so much right now. And even if we don't quite know how it is that we're encouraging it, it definitely is happening there and in these other little refuges of yoga communities around the country, and it's a beautiful thing.
So you mentioned earlier when we were setting up this call that you were laying down some tracks. It's like that's cool,
Yeah.
like musician laying down. It sounds so like such a cool thing to
It
lay
sounds
down some
fancy, right?
tracks, man.
Yeah, I'm just like,
So,
there's a microphone in my bedroom, it's not, these days, like making music is an awesome thing that I'm beyond grateful for because whenever I make new music, it lifts all boats, I like to say. I mean,
mhm.
my whole mood and energy and perspective uplifts from that. And I think it's just a reflection of, how our intentions need to be married with sort of like the common good. And I think there's a reflection of how when people receive music, hopefully they're feeling uplifted too. And somehow I start to get a taste of that. And I'm doing this online course called Kirtan Evolution. And we've been doing it now for these 1 month segments for about 4 years now. And we've covered about 120 chants from all kinds of amazing artists, everybody, myself included. But I just felt like I have all these chant and song ideas, and rather than sort of letting the perfect be the enemy of the good, I've just begun recording demos of these new chants, and then we learn them in the group. And I kind of, dare to share my vulnerable new creations, and that's a good practice for me. And people get to hear music that they like, so I'm working on that right now.
That's so awesome and brave and bold to
Yeah.
continually push yourself to be on that edge.
Yeah, and not let it be like, because when I make a record, I've done 7 of my own at this point and several for other people as a producer. But, you want to add in all the good stuff. You want to add in some trumpet and you want to add in some violin and really yummy it up. But I think that if a song, if a chant is worthwhile and it kind of speaks to our hearts, then it should be able to stand on its own in kind of a more stripped down, simple form. So that's kind of
Hmm.
my rule of thumb with this, you know. And so yeah, it is brave and courageous to show and share our hearts. But I feel like all of us, whether we're artists or not, or musicians or not, we all yearn to share what's within us. If it's just an idea or a song or a concept, you know, like that's uniquely ours. You know, the yogis talk about dharma, which is knowing our purpose and our calling and our mission, like the gift that we're meant to bring in life. There's something that's so fortifying and healing about daring to find that gift and share it with the world, even if it's not something, you know, big and fancy. It comes from a place of authenticity and hopefully from a place of service and an awareness of how can this lift others. You know, it's
Hmm.
so powerful and it transforms our lives and it transforms other people's lives.
You know, I've often wondered that for the musicians that I've met, that their music moves me in some way. And I wonder, you know, where are they when I'm in the place where it's a kind of just feeling the music in a very deep way. Sometimes, you know, when I'm looking back at it retrospectively, and especially in an opportunity I have to talk to you today, like where are you when you know you're chanting "Diamonds in the Sun" or something like that? Like where are you?
Well, I feel like in order to enter into that space of creativity is requires us to sort of like drop into a more selfless place. There's an awareness that like I can't do this with my own sort of limited concept of self, and this is true of any you know creative act. I have to sort of we have to step out of our sort of normal conceptual selves and enter into the mystery and face fear and resistance and procrastination and a shitty mood and whatever else is happening and step into that with a sense of trust, you know, and courage. Somebody shared an acronym for me of fear as face everything and rise. You know, and in the early days, especially, and anytime I sit down to write something new, there is an element of fear, which, you know, some people have described as fear as the membrane between what we know and what we're about to learn. And that's just the sensation of passing through that membrane. Fear doesn't mean we should stop. I mean, unless you're
Right.
going to cross the road in front of moving trucks. But that inner fear for allowing ourselves to live our dharma or our calling or step into that ideal that we feel called to, you know, even if it's just feeling called to come and sing at a kirtan concert or come to move at a live music and yoga class, because the truth is like we're living through historically fierce times and we we deserve and need to take care of ourselves so that we can show up for one another and most importantly so that we're not we have that intangible experience that we started by talking about, which is the nobility and the self-evident beauty of human connection that you guys offer so beautifully there at Roots to Wings, to show us really why we're all here and to kind of feel our way through what on the surface is a really tumultuous cultural time. And yet there's another power at work in the midst of the chaos, and we can lose sight of it if we're just sort of focused on the surface on the television screen looking at the news, but underneath it in deeper places where we connect there and connect in community, we feel something else that's that's more long lasting and true. That's the beauty of these practices to me.
It's such an interesting thing because we can't cause the conditions for creating that experience, right? But I do feel really strongly that we have to choose, we have the free will to choose to get together in a room together and sing or do
Right.
yoga or whatever it is. And if hopefully grace happens when we do that, and often it does, but
Yeah.
it's like at the same time, we can't like, it's not like a magic wand where
Push
you
a
can just
button.
tap
No.
some. It's just, it would be great if it was. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm ready for grace right now. They're like, come on.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it hasn't, at least for me, it hasn't worked that way. But
No, but 100%. If you don't show up, if we don't make ourselves available, then you're not going to be receiving that extra thing. It's much less likely. Um, yeah, it's like just unfurling the sails so that we can catch that breeze and kind of be carried forward. That's the metaphor for grace. We can't
yeah,
necessarily control when the breezes of grace are blowing, but we can keep the sail up and open. And these communities like Roots to Wings, are all about that, like being ready, keeping the sails open, and we need that, so much right now.
yeah. I like to think of it, just something just came to me as we're all holding each other's hands while we move through whatever level of fear we might be at
Yeah,
at any given moment together.
yeah.
Really, like let's go together.
Well, that's the
Well,
thing. Like Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen Buddhist monk, used to describe the situations in these refugee boats, which was happening a lot. People trying to escape persecution and to cross over to a better place, and there were pirates and storms. And he said that if everybody on the boat panicked in the midst of a difficult situation, then everything would be lost. But if even just one person could hold that space of like openness and faith, then other people could catch it, because hope and joy and love is contagious that way, in the same way that fear is contagious. So it's a
yeah,
beautiful reminder.
yeah. I think in this definition of fear, I was specifically referring to, it's almost the fear of accepting our responsibility for who we really are, and the fear that might arise in me in the moment where I'm going to use my voice or
Yeah,
move my body in front of other people. There's some
yeah.
apprehension that comes out of that, and I wonder sometimes if it isn't actually simply fear of becoming our incarnation of, like who we are, going back, fear of going back to the source of who we are, and taking responsibility for living that way.
And the thing that we make the mistake of thinking that, like, oh, there are certain special people who they don't have that fear.
Right.
They're creators, they're movers and shakers, and they're saints, and they don't have that fear. They're just like full of confidence, and it's all just perfect. But the truth is, everybody, even the people who are like living their dharma, in palpable ways, I think everybody faces that fear over and over again. I mean, I know that as a creative person, it's like you don't necessarily you having seen some beauty come through your instrument, it does fill you with some confidence, but there's nothing like the blank page or a new day, or a new relationship to kind of show you that, we all really are learning every day, and it's best to face it with beginner's mind and know that the fear is going to be there. And it sure is helpful to have others around us holding our hands on the journey.
Right. Wow. Great subject. We could go on. Maybe we should go on about this at some point.
Well, we will. July 19th and 20th, we sure
Yeah.
will.
So yeah. So on the 19th and 20th, the 19th is a 2 hour music event,
Yeah,
kirtan with Girish,
with a
and
great band. Yep.
the 20th is yoga with live music, which is always an experiment, and it's a learning experiment as we go. But I think this will be the fourth or fifth time we've done yoga with live music, and I've had a lot of fun every time that I've done it. So I'm
It's
looking forward.
amazing, and I pride myself on that kind of the alchemy of the live music and yoga experience where I just play solo and support the teacher and the movement of the class. It's like having like, when you go to a yoga class and somebody's really chosen a great playlist
Right,
soundtrack, in this case the playlist is dynamically live and responding to what's happening in the room,
right,
like literally in each moment, and
right.
it can really go deep. It's
Yeah,
powerful.
it is awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have safe travels
Thank you
as you
so
make your
much.
way up this way, and we really look forward to having a little bit of time with you. And
I can't wait. I'm so inspired to come back.
yeah,
Should we close with a song?
that would be awesome.
You have time? Yeah? Just
Yeah,
like a little, a
we
little, a
got
little
so
bit of
far into
that.
it, I forgot all about that. But yes, by all means.
Great. The mantra is Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 And we shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us, every one of us shines. We shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us. And we shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us, every one of us shines. We shine like diamonds in the sun. Every one of us, every one of us shines. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thanks for listening. See you soon.
You bet.